You know, it's funny how some films just stick with you. Decades later, and I still get chills thinking about The Sixth Sense.
It's definitely got that lasting power.
It does. But today, we're going beyond the twist, the I see dead people that everyone remembers.
Right, right.
We're taking a deep dive into a film critique that really digs deep into why The Sixth Sense is considered a masterpiece.
Yeah, I was really struck by how this critique, it emphasizes the suspense, but not like cheap jump scares,
No.
more like this slow-burning tension, a real psychological kind of unease.
You're just like waiting for something to happen.
Exactly. You're hooked, but you don't even know why at first.
The critique talks about the dialogue, how it's so measured and purposeful. You know, I bet if you watch it again, you'd pick up on things you missed the first time.
Oh, absolutely. Take the scenes with Malcolm, Bruce Willis's character,
Yeah.
going over his notes about Cole. You know, at first it seems like he's just trying to figure out what's wrong with the kid. But then knowing the twist, those scenes become, well, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because you realize Malcolm's desperately trying to find some purpose, even though he's, you know.
Oh, wow. I never thought of it like that. It makes you realize how Shyamalan was planning everything,
Yeah.
like from the very beginning, all these little details.
It's masterful.
And speaking of details, we can't forget the performances. I mean, Haley Joel Osment's I See Dead People, that line's iconic.
Oh, totally. Osmond's performance is just so real. You really feel for Cole, you know, all the fear, how vulnerable he is.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also this strength in him. Like, he knows he's got this ability, this gift, but it weighs on him, and Osment captures that so well.
It's interesting because it is scary, but he also uses his gift to help people,
Mm-hmm.
which it makes me think about Bruce Willis. You know, when I first heard he was going to be in a horror movie, I thought it'd be like Die Hard, but with ghosts.
Ah, yeah, that's what I thought too. But the critique really praises how Willis takes a totally different approach.
Really restrained.
Yeah. A much quieter performance. He plays this man dealing with isolation, feeling like he's failed, and that makes his character so much more complex than your typical action hero.
And those subtle things, like how he doesn't really touch anyone or that look in his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
it all takes on a new meaning when you know the truth.
Right, it all comes together.
So we've got the suspense, the amazing acting, but what makes The Sixth Sense really stand out are the themes, you know?
Totally. It's not just a spooky movie. The critique talks about how it explores grief and redemption and ultimately acceptance.
It makes you think.
It does. And the ghosts aren't just there to scare you.
No,
They represent like unresolved issues, not just for the characters, but for all of us too.
I could see that.
The critique, it talks about this metaphor of like the ghosts being the things we haven't dealt with in our own lives, you know,
Yeah.
the pain, the regrets, maybe even the apologies we never said. Think about a time when you felt, I don't know, haunted by a decision you made or something you missed out on. The Sixth Sense, it makes us look at those things, those ghosts, just like Cole does.
And it's fascinating how Cole's gift, it's terrifying, but it also helps him heal, you know? He's scared, but he also sees their pain and wants to help them find peace.
It's like our own fears. What if they could be, I don't know, opportunities to grow if we just face them?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Shyamalan doesn't just tell this story with words. He uses the visuals, too.
Oh, the visuals. It's like everything's so muted, almost like the color's been drained out of everything.
Yeah.
Except for red. Like there are these pops of red and they always mean something.
The critique mentions that.
Remember the scene in the tent when Cole first sees that angry ghost?
Uh-huh.
Everything's blue and gray, just cold. Then boom, you see the red of the ghost's wound. So intense. Like red represents their pain, their trauma.
Wow. I never thought of it like that, but you're right. Everything's so deliberate, every shot, every color.
And the mirrors and the windows, they're not just set dressing.
The critique talks about that, too.
They're like visual metaphors for like how many realities are going on in the film at the same time. You see these reflections, but are they real? And the windows, it's like you're peeking into another world.
Shyamalan doesn't miss a thing.
Mm.
It all adds to the mystery, the suspense. And speaking of setting the mood, we can't forget the music.
The score's incredible. James Newton Howard, he nailed it.
It's haunting, you know?
Like it's not just background music, it's part of the story. Think about the piano melody when Cole's talking to a ghost in his room.
Yeah.
It gives me chills every time. So simple, but so effective.
It's amazing how it all comes together. The story, the acting, the way it looks, the music. But we can't talk about The Sixth Sense without talking about the twist.
Oh, the twist. It blew everyone's minds back then. I mean, we all know it now, but still.
Right. The critique asks a good question, though. Does knowing the twist, does it ruin the movie?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, it's different seeing it for the first time, not knowing what's coming, but it's still powerful.
It makes you pay attention to different things.
Exactly. You notice the details, like how Willis acts, the little things you might have missed before. It's almost like a puzzle.
You know, I think for people who already know the twist, the film becomes more about Malcolm and his story. It's kind of a sad story when you think about it.
Absolutely. You see him trying to come to terms with being dead, trying to connect with Cole,
Yeah.
and in the end, realizing he has to let go to find peace.
Makes you think about how we deal with our own, like, ghosts, you know?
Our own baggage, do we hold on or do we learn to let go and move on?
Heavy stuff.
Deep stuff.
But that's what The Sixth Sense does. It makes you think.
It does. And, you know, the critique doesn't spend too much time on the cinematography, but it's worth mentioning. Tak Fujimoto, he did a fantastic job.
It's subtle, but it really adds to the mood.
He uses a lot of long takes, these still shots. It's like we're, like, spying on the characters.
Yeah, and the way he uses the mirrors and the windows, like you said before,
Yeah.
makes you feel uneasy, like you're not sure what's real.
It's like the camera is another character watching everything unfold.
So we've talked about a lot. The critical acclaim, how it influenced other thrillers, even Shyamalan's career. But what does all this mean for someone watching The Sixth Sense today?
That's the question, isn't it? Why should we care about all this analysis?
I think it matters because The Sixth Sense, beyond being a great movie, it touches on something we all experience.
It's true. Grief, trauma, wanting to connect with others, these are universal themes.
And just like Cole helps those ghosts find peace, we have to face the things that haunt us too.
It's a powerful reminder that even when we're scared, there's hope for healing, for growth.
And that maybe facing our fears is the only way to find peace. I love that. It's not just a horror movie. It's about facing your fears, finding peace. We've covered a lot, but I do have one more question about the twist ending.
You know, you can't deny the impact The Sixth Sense had. 6 Academy Award nominations, Best Picture, Best Director. That's huge.
Yeah, for sure. And Haley Joel Osment was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He was, 11? Crazy.
Right.
But I think the real impact is, like, how it changed thriller movies.
It's like it showed everyone that a psychological thriller, you know, one that makes you think, could be a blockbuster.
And it wasn't just about the scares, you know? People were talking about it, watching it again and again.
Definitely. And it raised the bar for twist endings. No more cheap tricks. The twist had to mean something.
Exactly. It had to add to the story, not just, like, shock you for a minute.
Think about all the thrillers that came after. The Others, The Village. Those definitely got inspiration from The Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah. That atmosphere, the twists. Shyamalan, he changed the game.
He did. And it's funny because I think The Sixth Sense also changed how people saw M. Night Shyamalan, you know?
He was like an overnight sensation.
Right. But, you know, becoming the twist ending guy, that can be tough. On the one hand, success. But on the other hand, everyone expects a twist now.
So it makes you wonder, can a director, once they've had a hit like that, can they change?
Or do they get stuck? Do they keep trying to do the same thing?
It's got to be hard. And speaking of things the critique doesn't really talk about, what about the cinematography? Tak Fujimoto, I think he deserves some credit.
Oh, totally. The way he shot the film, it totally adds to the creepiness.
Subtle, yeah.
All those long shots, the way the camera just sits there watching, it makes you feel, I don't know, like you're watching something you shouldn't be.
And the way he uses mirrors, windows, like you said before, disorienting.
Like you're not even sure what's real anymore.
So we've talked about a lot. Critics loved it. It changed thrillers. We even talked about Shyamalan's career. But why does this all matter? I mean, why should someone watching The Sixth Sense now, today, care about all this?
That's a good question. We've gotten pretty deep into this, haven't we?
We have. But I think it's because The Sixth Sense, it's more than just a good movie. It's about something bigger.
It's about stuff we all go through. Loss, fear, wanting to feel connected. It's human, you know?
And, like Cole helps those ghosts, maybe we need to face our own ghosts, too. The things that are holding us back.
It's a good reminder, even when we're scared, there's hope. We can heal, we can grow.
And maybe, just maybe, facing our fears is the key to finding peace.
Wow. It really makes you think. It's not just horror, it's about life, you know? Now, we've talked about so much, but there's one thing about that twist ending I still want to ask. So we talked about how the twist, how it adds these layers and makes you want to watch it again. But now that everyone knows the ending, does it still, I don't know, does it still have the same impact?
That's interesting. It's definitely different watching it now versus like back in '99 when it came out. The surprise is gone, but I don't think it's any less powerful.
Yeah, I think knowing the ending actually makes you pay attention to different things, like Willis's acting or all the visual cues, the dialogue.
Right. It becomes like you're trying to spot all the clues you missed before.
Exactly. It's like when you know how a magic trick works, but you're still impressed by the magician's skill.
And I think for people who already know, the movie becomes more about Malcolm. It's
Yeah.
almost like a tragedy, his story.
Yeah. You see him struggling with accepting that he's dead.
Trying to help Cole, but not really being able to connect.
And finally, realizing he has to let go.
It makes you think about how we deal with our own stuff,
Mhm.
our regrets, the things we wish we could change. Do we hold on or do we find a way to let go?
It's deep. It's like we all have our own sixth sense, our own way of seeing things. And the sixth sense, it asks us to look closer, to question what we think is real.
And to face the things that scare us, whether they're real ghosts or just, things from our past.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the sixth sense, I have to say I've learned a lot. It's more than just a scary movie. It's about life, about loss, about finding meaning.
And it shows us that even the scariest things, maybe they can help us heal, help us grow. Just like Cole helped those ghosts find peace, we can find peace too.
That's a great takeaway. I hope everyone listening, I hope this deep dive made you see the sixth sense in a new light. And hey, maybe it'll make you want to watch it again.
Or maybe even check out other movies that explore these themes. Movies that make you think, make you question what you believe.
Until next time, keep exploring. All right, so are you ready to dive deep into the sixth sense?
I am, are you?
I am. We're going to go behind the scenes of this movie.
Uh-huh.
This is one of the most iconic thrillers ever, I think, wouldn't you say?
Oh, without a doubt.
And we've got this article, Curiosities about the sixth sense.
Yeah,
Even if you've seen the movie a million times, I think you're going to learn something today.
absolutely.
So much detail went into the making of this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just start with Donnie Wahlberg,
Okay.
Vincent Gray.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Right. So different, so unexpected to see him in that kind of role.
Yeah, right.
Such a powerful, haunting performance, it really sticks with you.
Yeah, and how he got there, I mean, the physical transformation is incredible.
Oh, totally. The weight loss, the isolation, he really committed to embodying that character's tortured mental state.
Yeah, and it shows, right? You really feel the weight of Vincent's guilt and regret.
For sure. His physical transformation mirrored the internal struggle, his desperation and remorse, just palpable.
It's amazing how much the right actor in a role can make that much of a difference.
It really is. I mean, and speaking of, we got to talk about Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
11 years old.
I know.
11 years old.
It's insane.
And he delivers this incredibly nuanced performance, chilling, right? How did he even do that at that age?
Shyamalan said that even during the audition, he was blown away by how mature Osment was, like how deeply he understood the character.
Yeah, and you can tell, right? He's not just reciting lines.
He's living it.
He's inhabiting the character. And that line, I see dead people. Oh my gosh.
It's iconic. I still get goosebumps.
Every time, right?
Yeah.
The film just wouldn't be the same without him.
Casting is everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so there was this one thing in the article I thought was really interesting.
Uh-huh.
It was about color, like how color is used in the film.
Oh, the color red, right.
Yeah.
It's a really smart detail. It's like a visual motif throughout the movie.
I never noticed it before.
It's subtle, but it's there. It symbolizes the presence of the dead.
Whoa.
You see it on the doorknob to the locked basement door, the red balloon, even that red sweater Cole wears.
Like a secret code.
It's brilliant, right? It adds this whole other layer of meaning to the film.
It really does.
Shyamalan is a master at using these visual cues, foreshadowing, and amping up the tension, psychological thriller aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
So all of this brings us to the mastermind, the director, M. Night Shyamalan.
Right, the man himself.
I mean, his own fears, his fascination with the supernatural, that's all baked into this movie, right?
It's so clearly a personal film for him.
Yeah.
And of course, as is his signature, did you catch his cameo in The Sixth Sense?
Oh, I did.
Dr. Hill.
It's going to be a part of the world he creates, right?
Right, it's awesome.
It shows how much he cares. Like,
Yeah.
he's involved in every little piece, from
Yeah.
the very first idea to the final edit.
So, after all this whole deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
does anything strike you differently about the movie now? I think it makes you realize there's just so much going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
It's not just the plot twists, it's the actor's commitment, the hidden symbolism, like, how much did we miss? Makes you wonder what else we didn't catch.
That's a really good point. Like, did you notice how muted the colors are in the whole film?
Oh, yeah.
Like, kind of washed out, and how that creates this feeling of unease.
Right.
Yeah. It's
I'd
like the
say that.
colors are reflecting the character's emotional states.
Yeah, exactly. Everything works together to create that unforgettable viewing experience, you know?
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece for a reason.
Okay, so I'm going to rewatch The Sixth Sense tonight with, like, new eyes. Who knows what else we'll find?
Right. There are probably still secrets hidden in there.
Totally.
That's what makes it so rewatchable. You always discover something new.
Thanks for joining me for this deep dive.
Yeah, this was fun.
The Sixth Sense. What a movie.
Definitely a classic.